our mental is everything. Everyone mental is everything. And you don't want to get to a point where you're so overwhelmed and you break down, you crash out, you just not yourself. And what tends to happen. What's up, YouTube? It's your girl, Brittany Nicole, and I'm back with another video. As you could tell by the title, that this is another episode of Let's Talk, and our topic today is going to be life as a single parent after marriage. So, yes, but before we get started, make sure you subscribe to my channel, you hit that like button, and you hit that notification bell so you won't miss any videos that come your way. So let's get right into it. So, just a little backstory about me. So, I got married at 23. At that time, I had already had a I had a 5-year-old, a 2-year-old, and I had one on the way. So, I was getting ready to have our third child. The first two are not from my ex-husband. However, you cannot tell him that. Like, those are his kids, okay? When we met, my oldest was 3 years old. My baby girl was 3 months old. And that's how all of that came about. So we got married in 2009. 2009. Forgive me with the dates because I'm trying to remember the actual dates. So 2009, we got married. We tied the knot. I was pregnant at the same time. So yeah, I did one of them. Anywho, we were married. Well, we were together for 16 years. We were married for 14 years. I decided to walk away from my marriage because it was a lot of infidelity. A lot. Okay, and I tried to work on it. I tried to suggest counseling at the time. He didn't want it, and it was a lot. And I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be straight up honest with you all. I also stepped up on my marriage once. Doesn't make it right? No. Was it the right thing to do? Absolutely not. However, I knew from my one mistake that I wanted to get my mess together and make things work for my family, for my husband, and for myself at the time. So, doing what I need to do, then he ended up stepping out. But it wasn't a one-time step out. It was multiple times. Like, every year seemed like he was stepping out. I would find out to where it just got to a point where I stopped going to look for it. I stopped, trying to make him want me and make him understand that you have a wife, X, Y, and Z. So what I end up doing, I slowly, like the saying say, when you are removing yourself or detaching yourself away from somebody, you start in your head, then your heart, and then you start like actually getting yourself to remove yourself out of the situation. And that's what happened in my situation. So it was our 10-year anniversary, or going into our 10-year anniversary. We used to take our kids on a big trip every spring break. So, and it wasn't just me and my husband and our kids, it would be my sister and her kids, it would be his family members and their kids. So we used to do like a big family, like, out of town trip for the kids for spring break. So this particular year, it was going into our 10-year anniversary, and it was just me, him, and my sister, and just our kids that we were taking out of town. So before we go out of town, he tells me, like, he had a, okay, let me just rewind it back real quick. So leading up to this trip, he was having a lot of health issues. So we were trying to figure out what was wrong. He kept having like high blood pressure, but they doctor never diagnosed him with high blood pressure, but that was just like the reactions he was getting, and he was being hyperventilative as well. So, as a caring wife, you're trying to figure out like, okay, what's going on with my husband? Like why is he being sick so much? Why the doctor's not saying nothing? X, Y, and Z. So fast forward to the day before we were going out of town. We all at one of his aunt's house, and we just all like kind of just chilling, talking, laughing, and then he just got came out the blue and we're just saying, I'm sorry for messing up our marriage, I'm sorry for cheating. I'm just like, it's gonna be cool, like we're gonna work through it, like that's what we're doing. And he was like, no, you don't understand. I'm just like, okay, because now at this point I'm confused, like what the hell going on? Like, what are you talking about? So there was an incident where something, it was in the process of happening with the secretary from the school he was working at the time, but it never followed through because he like quickly realized like this ain't right type situation and removed himself out of the situation. So it kind of like I didn't know what to say. At that point I was speechless. So I'm like, in the back of my head, I'm like, well, damn, like, I can't trust my own husband to go to work and stop entertaining these women. And mind you, it was always older women. Every single time it was older women. It was never nobody our age. It was always someone very much older. So, um, I just kind of couldn't. I was like, I thought I was on the verge of, being free from it and being very understanding to where I'm like, okay, we could work this out. We could get some type of counseling or something. But mind you, like I stated, he didn't want the counseling at the time. So at that point, when I started to check out, which was after the trip, we still went on the trip because the money was already paid for the trip, and I didn't want to ruin it for my kids because this situation had nothing to do with them. It was a mommy and daddy situation, and I didn't want to ruin it for them. But thank God my sister was there because she kind of kept them busy because I was on an up and down roller coaster. One minute I'm okay, and then the next minute I just get upset. So it was a roller coaster for me. But like I said, my sister was there and she was really, really helpful with the whole like understanding and keeping the kids distracted while we try to work through whatever we going through on the trip. So then fast forward, COVID came. Mind you, he worked for the school board. At the time, I was in the process of getting my daycare open. On top of that, still working a 9 to 5. Kids are home at this point with online online classes because of COVID. Okay, so it kind of hit me to like, what the hell? Because of the fact that I'm sitting up here, I'm working, I'm still trying to run a business, I'm still trying to, and I was also doing hair as well, sparely, so doing hair, um, and still taking care of kids in the household, and it was a lot. So I was just like, okay, so after kind of observing, like, he really just chilling. Like, the kids would definitely bypass him and come straight to me and ask me, mommy, I need help with my homework, or I need help with this, and mommy, can you help? Which I'm not gonna tell my kids no, but dude, what are you doing? Like, can you help? Like, are you even here? Like, just because you don't have to work doesn't mean that I got to start working, which I can't because we still, got bills. Okay. So, anywho, so that kind of like made me kind of like, I'm really doing this by myself, which also made me feel like and realize I'm married, but I'm single. And that is a real thing, that you could be married to someone and you could still feel like you're single and doing everything because that person is just not helping. That person is not communicating. That person is not assisting you on what needs to be assisted. So that is really, really a thing. And that's where I was at. I was like, I felt like I was a single parent at that point with no help. You was there physically, but emotionally, mentally, you wasn't there. So as COVID was trying to kind of some places was still letting you kind of come out and stuff like that. So the leading up until, I would say, yeah, so leading up until COVID before they shut everything down. So this is within the same year of 2020. Um, that February, he was trying to kind of like win me back from like that December to that February, because he ended up taking me out of town. But I still wasn't like buying it because you've been doing this for so long, and how do I know honestly that you are really want to be here, for two, that you really want to change, and then for three, you still haven't even called for any counseling, like marriage counseling classes or sessions for us to like go through. And then when he wanted to do it, I didn't want to, because at this point I've been begging and wanting you to show me that you want to fix this marriage, and you haven't shown me. Even then, when he was asking me about the marriage counseling, he wanted me to call, and I'm just like, no, because you're still showing me that you're not trying to make no effort into this. So no, I don't want to do it. If I got to call, then there's no reason for us to even do this. And that's how I was feeling. So fast forward, after COVID, that was like probably like March of 2020. I was like, look, I can't do this no more. So I walked away. So um walked away. 3 months after he left, I ended up meeting someone and we ended up talking. Even though, yes, it was wrong because of the fact I was still legally married. However, we were going through the divorce process, which he kept saying that he was going to take care of, but of course that never happened. So I ended up moving to Georgia in 2021. So May of 2021, I ended up moving to Georgia. I collected me and my children, and we moved to Atlanta. So moved to Atlanta with the dude who I was dealing with, which is my boyfriend. So we moved there together, and um and that just where I just kind of just left everything at. So the divorce still didn't happen. So now it's going on 22, still nothing. So I took it upon myself to find myself. I was like, look, if you don't have the money to do it, that's understandable. However, I need to get this done because I don't want this to kind of hinder me when I'm trying to move on with my life. And one day I do want to get remarried. So I don't want this to be like a blocker for me, doing what I want to do for myself to make me happy. So I went ahead, I filed in 22 in the state of Georgia due to the fact that that is where I was a resident at, and I couldn't do it from Florida. So I was able to do it and finally got it filed or whatever. So boom, got that done, situated. Now I am divorced. So life has been really, really, I would say it's been okay. Can it be better? Yes, it can. And the reason why I say it could be better because I could get more help from the father of my children than I have been getting. I have two baby daddies that are still living. One of them was deceased. Deceased. I'm sorry. One of them is no longer with us. So I have two living baby daddies, and I don't really get help as much as I can get help for neither one of them. Which is okay because I'm figuring it out. But at times it gets hard as a single mother or a parent because you could be a single dad. So it gets hard when you doing everything on your own by yourself, trying to figure everything out and trying to still keep it together for the sake of your children. So it could get really hard and really overwhelming at times because you don't have an outlet. You know, if it wasn't for my close friends and my sister, baby, I probably would have jumped off the shallow end of somebody's bridge. Okay, like honestly, I would have. But because I have God on my side and I have my close friends and my sister that I'm able to talk to all the time, they really, really helped me through some very dark moments when I feel like I'm overwhelmed. And I'm not bashing my baby daddies at all to that extent. I just wish they would help more and be more of a listening ear when it comes to their children. That's all I care about. I had never been the type of female to hold my kids as a pawn, whether, oh, I'm going to hold my child hostage because you don't want to do right. I have never done that, never will do that. I'm not that type of person at all. So I don't hold my kids as a pawn just because they don't want to do right. If you decide to get your child, then fine, be all means. If you don't want to get them, that's cool too. They could be home with their mom. But it does get overwhelming when you're trying to get help from the other parent and they just are not as understanding on the issues that you're dealing with when it comes to your child or children. So, for example, there was a situation where my youngest son really missed his dad. And he was struggling like really, really bad to where he was acting out at school, at home. He was just not being himself. He wasn't being my baby like my baby should be acting. So I sat him down one day and I was like, what's really going on? Like, why are we acting out like this? And he told me through the crying that he missed his dad. He feel like his dad don't spend any time with him. Um, he doesn't get them like they were promised. Because mind you, we moved from Georgia last year in 2024, the beginning of 2024, back to Jacksonville. And I will do a complete different story time on that. But we moved from Georgia to Jacksonville at the beginning of last year, and it was even told to me that if you need anything, I'm here to help. I even tried to make, arrangements for you to get your kids to kind of keep us on a schedule, which is court ordered to keep them on a schedule to you get them every other weekend type situation, and that still never happened. Even to this day, it still haven't happened, and it's been a whole year since he haven't physically got them for a weekend. So it's been really hard for the transition for both of my kids, but it's mainly been my youngest son. So the co-parenting is okay, but the co-parenting could be better. Um, and that's all I'm gonna say about that situation. It could be better. I feel like the parent that is absent and that's not there all the time doesn't know the struggles that the parent that's there all the time go through for real. Like when they're upset about the absentee parent who is not there, they act out, they have they show out, they start acting out in school, they start acting out at home really badly. Like these are the things that they're crying for help, but this is not the correct way to ask for help or to say I miss my other parent and I just really want their presence around me. So, and then again, they not going to understand why the other parent is not there. It's only so much I feel like without bashing the other parent that you as the sole parent that's there with them 24/7 that you have to say towards why the other parent is not there as they should. And they really was expecting to have more time with their dad, to be with their dad more, to for him to really be a little bit more in tune than he had been. And now that we're back in the same city, it's still the same thing to where my kids like, what was our point of even coming back? And that's how they feel to this day. So they don't know what we go through as a parent, as a mother. And I'm just going to say mother because it's mainly us single mothers are dealing with the gist of it. Even through the whole divorce, like my youngest son, he took it the worst and he felt like it was his fault. Like he told me, Mama, I feel like you and dad not being together and divorcing is my fault. And I had to explain to him whatever me and your dad had going on, it had nothing to do with you. This is a mommy and daddy situation that it would just came to a mutual to where it wasn't going to work anymore. So that was how I explained it to him. And I explained that to the rest of my kids as well, because like I said, even though my first two are not from him, they still call him dad. And my last two are from him. So, you know, they still, talk or whatever from time to time. But my youngest two, though, they talk they dad all the time. So I would say for any mothers out there who are single now, they are after a divorce, that are not getting or receiving the help, whether it's child support or not, whether it's being able to get help to watch the kids just so you can have a day or some hours to yourself, I would say take a break. If your kids are not babies, it's okay to make sure your kids are in good hands and go have a day for yourself. Because our mental is everything. Everyone mental is everything. And you don't want to get to a point where you're so overwhelmed and you break down, you crash out, you just not yourself. And what tends to happen when it goes that way, we end up losing ourselves. We stop getting our hair done, we stop getting our nails done, we stop getting our feet done, we start getting our lashes done. We lose ourselves because it's so overwhelmed and everything else is happening and going on in our lives. So don't give up. Continue to pray. Continue to hold on. And we got this. We definitely got this. God made us strong for a reason. So I'm just encouraging you, if you're a strong mother and you're trying to figure life out after divorce, we got this. It's gonna be okay. It's a community of us out here. Even if you ain't been married and you're a single parent, it's a community out here for us. And if you want to start a community, we could start it here on this channel. We could do check-ins, whatever it is that you need, whatever it is that you want to talk about. We could base this channel around that, because it is hard as single mothers out here in this world today. Everything has gone up. Inflation is ridiculous. You don't know where your next meal gonna go because groceries done went up. You like, everything has gone up and it's so ridiculous, and you not getting the help that you need, and you just sometimes you don't know where to turn. But I would say continue to turn to God for one, because He has gotten me out of a lot of dark situations, honestly, and I'm not even capping or making nothing up to make this sound so good, but He has. I have a good village for not just me, for my kids too. So I'm it's a lot, and sometimes we just got to take a deep breath, take one day at a time. We're not superwoman. We can't hold a cape for every single body, because it would get overwhelming. It really would. So, with that being said, I pray that everyone that sees this video, it touches them in some kind of way, to where it gives them some encouragement and informing them that you are not alone. You're not. If there's anything you want to talk about, or you want to reach out to me, comment below and I will respond. I promise I will, because I really do feel like we need more of a village for raising these kids nowadays, honestly. And we shouldn't do it. We shouldn't have to do it alone. We didn't have these kids by ourselves. But sometimes that's how some of these men feel, like we had these kids by ourselves, and then they wonder when their kids get of age, they want to pop back up and say, "Oh yeah, that's my son, that's my daughter," when they graduate, as if they really had something to do with the upbringing, and they didn't. Like, the nerve. So, but at the end of the day, they're gonna have to answer to those children. They're gonna have to answer to God. That is not for us to sit up here and try to sugarcoat anything or make up stories. No. The time gonna come, they're gonna have to explain themselves to their children. And if you have any children like mine, they are very blunt. They are very blunt. They're gonna tell you how they feel. They're gonna let you know. And that's because I taught them to do that. I taught them never to keep nothing in. If it's something you want to speak on it. Even if it hurt that person's feelings or make them feel uncomfortable, they should know. And that burden should be taken off of you. So I'm going to close with that. If you all like this video or like these kind of talks in these chats, make sure you like this video, you give a thumbs up, and you also hit that notification bell for the next videos to come. And until next time, I'm wishing you the best, and make sure y'all stay cozy and warm with this crazy weather, because it is getting a little crazy out there. Until next time, good night.